Rick and Morty, the anime. Oh yeah, this is a real thing that they did. Remember those little shorts Adult Swim put out with Rick and Morty in an anime? Well, they made that into an entire show, and I'm not gonna lie, I was fairly interested in this when it was announced. It didn't look like a masterpiece, but hey, I'm always down for some more Rick and Morty content. I've already talked about it twice this year on this channel. But this isn't Rick and Morty. My working theory right now is that Warner Brothers bought the rights to another animated show and just animated Rick and Morty on top of it. Right now, there are 3 episodes of Rick and Morty the anime, and as far as I am concerned, that is all there is going to be for me. I went into this show with middle-of-the-road expectations. All I really wanted from Rick and Morty the anime was a fun sci-fi premise, some cool aesthetics, and of course, the characters from Rick and Morty in a new setting and art style. My expectations were low, and through 3 episodes, this show has fallen way below what I was expecting. Like Limbo low, like Joe Rogan comedy low, like my self-esteem low. In concept, this isn't the worst idea in the world, especially after seeing all of the shorts that led to this full 10-episode order. The shorts are broadly pretty fun, some are focused on action, one is focused on comedy, and the rest are focused on weird, disjointed nonsense that, I'll be real, I didn't care for all that much. Now go ahead and guess which creator from these shorts they gave the chance to make an anime. Yep, that's right, Takashi Sano, or for my southern viewers, Takeshi Sano, is the writer and director behind this series, and he was responsible for the shorts Rick and Morty vs. Genocider, which is a neat little animation, as well as the short Summer Meets God, Rick Meets Evil, a short animation that seems to be about Summer almost accidentally falling in love with Jerry, her father. Honestly, it's not even a weird thing for Rick and Morty to do at this point, but this brings me to a strange issue with the anime that I was not expecting. Summer plays a pretty major role in the anime as well as in this short, but when I say major role, I really mean she just eats up a lot of the screen time. I think that the writer-director Takashi Sano just likes Summer in terms of design, but not as a character. In fact, I don't think the writer and director of Rick and Morty the anime gives a single shit about making interesting characters. I think he just wants to make cute ones, which is fine, I guess, but it makes for a really empty feeling story and world, which was the last thing I was expecting from a show that already has a very well-established world with interesting characters. The archetypes were right there, the work was already done, and yet the anime's best character by far, in my opinion, is the President of the United States, a side character. The main cast is awful. Every character just feels off and poorly defined, and I'm fine with taking these characters in a different direction and giving them different motivations and interests for the sake of story, but there's almost nothing here. They didn't add anything to these characters, they just stripped stuff away. Except for Summer, of course, who through the first 2 episodes apparently just knows way more than everyone else for seemingly no reason other than the writer and director just liked her design more than the other characters. Now, I'm not trying to make like a big hubbubaloo about this, alright? They put this guy, Takashi Sano, in charge of making the Rick and Morty anime, and if he likes making cute female characters, that's his prerogative, or whatever the big word is that I don't fully understand. If he wants to do that, that's fine, but it just goes a bit too far, and it's a detriment to the series as a whole. In fact, on top of Summer having way too much screen time, the show makes a big deal about introducing a new love interest for Morty, and I feel like the only reason she's there, despite stupid story reasons that we'll get into later, with no spoilers or anything like that, but there really isn't much to spoil. Nothing fucking happens. But I feel like the only reason Morty's love interest is a new character is so that the writer and director could make a new cutesy female character, because that's what they like to make, which, again, that's fine, but it doesn't mean I have to like it, alright? I don't think it works for this show. I don't find it entertaining. I just find it broadly kind of dumb and poorly thought out. And the voice acting does not help these empty shells of characters either. It's broadly pretty bad across the board for all of the English voice acting, with the only silver lining for me being the voice actor for the President once again, which, surprise hit character of the show, it's the President for some reason. Most of the voice actors sound bored, they sound tired, they sound disinterested. It's honestly kind of shocking, and I tried switching to the Japanese audio with subtitles, which I should say is not the original listed language for this show. The original listed language is English, so I did my watch through in that, and I do think that the Japanese voice acting is better. There's definitely more emotion in it, but that brings us to the writing of this show. We're not even to the the story yet, just the basic dialogue writing is also severely fucked up. The dialogue is really stupid and poorly written, and it's very plain. It kind of feels like if you're writing just to get from point A to point B without any form of flourish or anything. I took actual notes of some of the lines and exchanges, and I'll do my best to voice act them for you because getting footage for this show is a nightmare on my end of things. But there's one scene where Beth is talking to Space Beth, and Beth says,
"The situation is a little more serious than that."
And Space Beth's response is,
"You're right. It does seem like it's a bit more serious."
It's emotionless, it's dry, and it's really stupid. It's so straightforward and blunt. There's no artistry to it whatsoever. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. There's also a line in episode 3 delivered by Rick that got me to actually laugh, where Rick says, "That girl knows the future." Like I said, it was one of the few times I laughed during the show because it's just so straightforward. There's not even the slightest bit of thought put into it. They just have the story and they have what the characters need to say for the bare minimum to have this stupid ass story move forward, and then they just went with that. It's like filler stuff you would write in a first draft that made it all the way to the end of production. It's shocking. Can you imagine you're in a really serious scene and you're trying to figure out what's going on with a character, and then one of our main characters, who has lost all of his characteristics, mind you, so basically the shell just goes, "That girl knows the future." What are you supposed to get from that? Nothing. There's nothing to gain from it. There's nothing fun about it. There's nothing interesting about it. It's just dry, bland, and boring. But it made me laugh, which is more than I can say for the actual comedy in this show, because it's not really a comedy. There's a certain rhythm to comedy that this show does not understand. A fundamental thing that you need if you're going to have comedy in your TV show. There's one scene where it's supposed to be a funny hard cutaway to Morty looking like an idiot playing VR in the first episode, but they leave a music track playing over the cut, which completely ruins the timing of the joke and causes it to fall completely flat. And it's like this constantly throughout the show. The tone and the pace are constantly at odds. It's moving at breakneck speeds and then completely slowing down. It tries to set up a joke, but it still is carrying over the same serious or exposition-ridden tone from the scene prior. It's just a mess. And pair all this with the bad voice acting and the dumb dialogue. I mean, there is very little in Rick and Morty the anime that I would call inventive or interesting or even just clever. There's a really cool idea for a fight scene where two Ricks are fighting each other, but each time they hit each other, they switch dimensions. Super cool setup, I like it a lot, but the execution is awful, and I mean awful. The fighting is really fast paced, like you'd want. It's a fight scene. But every time they switch dimensions, the pace slows down to a crawl just to speed back up again 10 seconds later. It's like they didn't know how to pull off this scene and decided just to try it and wing it anyways, and it does not work. They completely wasted a really cool idea. I was genuinely getting annoyed at these action scenes because it felt like stop and go traffic. It felt like you were just speeding up to something. Oh, here we go. We're getting started. Nope, never mind. Not yet. Oh, but here it comes. We're gonna get the, oh, never mind. We're not there. And then the scene's over, and then that's it. And you're just left like, great, I guess, cool. I'm not having fun. It's not fun and it's not entertaining. What's the point? Why am I here? And the animation quality also takes a bit of a dip during one of the action scenes between Space Beth and Tammy. The action is fine, although I barely know why they're fighting or what they're fighting about, but we'll get to that in a second. But I think they switched to 3D models during some of the fight scenes, and the faces on these models are really plain and don't express emotions nearly at all. And it's such a shame too, because I thought the action would be one of the highlights of this show, but it just feels completely empty. The animation is great at times, but it's in service of absolutely nothing. And then when we finally get to the part where we're like, okay, no more story, no more characters, just pure raw action, they still found a way to mess it up. It's really disappointing. And speaking of disappointing, we have to talk about the story. I don't know what happened here, but it is one of the most nonsensical, uninteresting things I've ever seen. I wrote down in my notes multiple times through just the first 3 episodes, that's all I have right now, I wrote, I don't know why this is happening. And that is my overall sentiment when it comes to the story. There's very little motivation for the characters, and what is there is incredibly shallow and poorly explored. Morty has a new girlfriend. Isn't that cool? Yeah. But I don't know anything about her. I don't know why she's there. I don't know what her motivations are. I don't know why Morty cares about her. Is it just because she's pretty? That seems to be the motivation behind the writer and director for all of his character decisions. So maybe that is it. It's just shallow. It's empty. It feels like a husk of another show, which it basically is. I mean, this is like saying, oh, hey, in Family Guy, let's spin off with Cleveland Brown. Yeah, we'll use Cleveland Brown as a spin-off character, and even though he has no definable characteristics apart from just a couple of jokes as a side character, we'll give him his own TV show. That's what it feels like they're doing here. You'd have to be an idiot to do something like that. Oh wait, they actually did do that. And yeah, that's the caliber we're dealing with here. I am actually comparing the Rick and Morty anime to the Cleveland show. It feels equally pointless. And I'm gonna be real with you guys right now. I'm looking at the rest of the script for this video talking about the story section, and it basically boils down to Rick has a bomb, Morty has a girlfriend he met in a video game, and the Federation is after Rick because he has a bomb. That's really all I've got. That's all I got out of these 3 episodes, because everything moves so crazy quickly during like the adventure and action sequences, and then when we get to the actual story part, it's just monotone talking about things we already know. Rick talking about, oh, well, I have a bomb, and the Federation wants it, and the Federation goes, we need to get that bomb from Rick because he has a bomb and we have to get it from him. And then Summer goes,
Guys, Rick has a bomb and he's in trouble. They're trying to get him.
it's just nonstop reiterating the same shit over and over again. It's like some of my older videos, and probably how this one is gonna feel at a certain point, but that's what happens when you have nothing. There's nothing here. Sometimes you overstretch it, and this is something that probably could have worked in a 5-minute short, but as a full series, it is downright terrible. Well, so much for this video being a 5-minute quick review, but there really was a lot of problems that I noticed about this show, and it carries through to just about every aspect of it. I'm not gonna give it a score out of 10. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. Just stay far, far away from it. If you want good adult animation to watch on HBO Max, you can watch Rick and Morty, maybe skip a few episodes here and there, or if you just want something new to check out that's awesome, Scavenger's Reign, that's also on HBO Max, and it's far better than this in terms of story, in terms of voice acting, in terms of everything. It's just a far better show, but I guarantee you 1/3 as many people have seen it because it doesn't have the brand recognition as Rick and Morty, which fair, you know, we're not gonna get into all that right now, but do me a favor. If you're watching this video and you're interested in the Rick and Morty anime, avoid it and watch Scavenger's Reign instead. That'll be my little way to give back. It's really worth your time, I guarantee it. That's all I got. See you guys later. Thanks for all the support on the channel recently. I know this isn't like one of those funny outros or one of those funnier videos I've been doing, but sometimes you just gotta lay down the law with this shit, and I am very grateful you guys have been connecting with the content I've been putting out, and here's to more in the future. That's all I got. Here's a fart sound.